it creeped me out. I thought maybe it was some person, but the more I looked at it, the more I realized that it was a lot bigger than a normal person would be.
On April 15, 2009 in Ontario, Canada, at precisely 2:39 p.m., a woman named Jean Habir opened her blinds and saw something unusual. Approximately half a football field away, a massive figure stood motionless. Shocked by the sight, she immediately called for her husband and grabbed a camera. The couple watched as the creature, despite noticing them, did not react or flee. Mr. Habir took 2 photographs before it disappeared into the dense wilderness. 15 minutes later, the creature reappeared, providing the couple with one last opportunity to capture another image. Then, just as suddenly as before, it vanished once more, never to be seen again. The Habirs estimated its height to be around 10 feet, though they admitted this could be an overestimation.
I understand there was an incident that took place here?
Yeah, I'm a logger, and 2 weeks ago, we were all working out here. There was at least 20 guys, and we just started noticing things were moved.
In the following weeks, strange events occurred at their cabin. The screens on their windows were found torn off, and they had no explanation for how it happened. No human or known animal could be linked to the damage. Feeling uneasy after their experience, the couple decided to sell their cabin in 2010, unwilling to risk further encounters. The photographs taken that day remain some of the clearest images ever captured of a Sasquatch. While many Bigfoot sightings produce blurry, indistinct images, these stood out for their clarity. The creature's broad build, lack of a visible neck, and dense hair covering its body aligned with traditional descriptions of Sasquatch. Even its face, though partially obscured, had distinct primate-like features.
Those who take Bigfoot seriously don't take every alleged Bigfoot video seriously. In fact, they're often the first to call foul on the fakers. So when they tell us they've seen video they think is legit, we take a look too.
Skeptics question the authenticity of the photos, but several people who knew the Habirs vouched for their integrity. Friends and neighbors expressed doubt that the couple would fabricate such a story, given their character and the impact the sighting had on their lives. The images sparked intense debate within the Bigfoot research community. Could this be definitive proof, or was there another explanation?
An intriguing discovery is being investigated in a community east of Seattle. Someone came across a lengthy trail of extremely large footprints. Now, a Sasquatch investigator is looking into the matter, which has also piqued the interest of a renowned researcher here on the island.
Alaska Footprint Discovery, 2025. Fast forward to January 22nd, 2025, when a man in Alaska made a discovery that reignited the Bigfoot debate. While walking outside to tend to his chickens, he stumbled upon massive footprints in the snow. At first, he dismissed them as nothing unusual, but upon closer inspection, he realized the sheer size and spacing of the prints defied conventional explanation. The footprints stretched an impressive 7 to 8 feet apart, a stride far beyond human capability. He compared them to his own boot prints, and the difference was staggering. The tracks were significantly larger, with elongated toes that suggested something far different from a bear or other known wildlife.
Who take Bigfoot seriously don't take every alleged Bigfoot video seriously. In fact, they're often the first to call foul on the fakers.
Alaska has long been associated with tales of mysterious creatures roaming its vast, uninhabited landscapes. Indigenous groups such as the Tlingit and Athabascan people have passed down stories for generations about large, hairy, humanoid beings lurking in the forests. Some refer to them as kushtaka, wild men or forest spirits capable of luring people into the wilderness. Another legend speaks of the Yuri Yuli, a giant, hairy creature believed to inhabit the forests of southwestern Alaska. According to these legends, these beings were once lost children who had transformed into monstrous creatures, roaming the land ever since. While the footprints captured in 2025 may not directly confirm these indigenous legends, they align with the region's long history of cryptid folklore. Examining the prints more closely, the man noted how some of the impressions showed irregular toe shapes, distinguishing them from any typical animal track. Could this be the first true evidence linking Alaska's legendary wild men to the modern-day Bigfoot phenomenon? Virginia Bigfoot encounter. Meanwhile, in Virginia, a man exploring a remote forested area had an unexpected encounter. Initially, he thought he spotted a bear and pulled out his phone to record. He called out, "Bear! Hey, bear!" expecting it to react. But as he zoomed in, he realized this was no ordinary animal. The creature was partially concealed behind a tree, revealing only its upper body. It was covered in dark hair, but its face stood out. Its features resembled a strange mix of human and primate. The exposed skin on its face had a grayish hue, and the deep wrinkles on its forehead were visible even from a distance. As the man recorded, the creature seemed to be observing him, occasionally peeking from behind the tree. Virginia has a history of Bigfoot sightings. In 1990, hunters in Shenandoah National Park claimed to have seen a massive bipedal creature walking upright. They described it as over 7 feet tall, with broad shoulders and long arms. The creature allegedly let out a deep, guttural yell before vanishing into the woods. In the early 2000s, a family camping near the Peaks of Otter reported seeing a similar creature watching them from the tree line. When they moved, it appeared to follow them at a distance. They later found large, 15-inch footprints near their campsite. The 2014 Wise County sighting added further credibility to Virginia's reputation as a Bigfoot hotspot. That year, residents reported hearing loud, unidentifiable screams echoing through the night. A local farmer claimed to have seen a massive, dark-furred figure moving across his property, describing it as around 8 feet tall. Large footprints were later found near a creek bed. The man's footage from 2025 adds yet another piece to the puzzle. The creature's behavior, watching from behind a tree rather than running, raises questions. Was it curious, cautious, or was it used to staying hidden, perfectly aware of how to evade human detection? Michigan footprint incident. The story of strange footprints doesn't end there. A student at Grand Valley State University in Michigan had an equally unsettling encounter in mid-February. Hiking deep in the woods with friends, he suddenly stopped in his tracks, literally. Bare footprints, massive in size, were imprinted deep in the snow and ice. The tracks continued for some distance, with no other signs of human presence. Given the freezing temperatures and the remote location, the idea that someone had walked barefoot in such conditions seemed absurd. The group followed the footprints for as long as they could, but eventually they disappeared. Adding to their unease, the students recalled previous experiences of feeling watched while hiking in these same woods. One friend even claimed to have seen something moving from treetop to treetop, an impossibility given that no primates, let alone large ones, inhabit Michigan. After the encounter, the student researched Bigfoot reports in the area. To his shock, he found multiple accounts of sightings within the same county, dating back years. Skeptics suggested the prints could belong to a bear, but this raised another question. Where were the claw marks? Bears have distinct tracks, and their double-step motion leaves recognizable imprints. Yet these footprints had defined toes and no signs of claws. As the story spread online, it divided opinions. Some argued that the prints were too small for a Bigfoot. However, the student countered that juvenile Bigfoots, or even smaller individuals, could exist, much like how humans vary in size. Michigan hiker's close call, 2025. In another chilling encounter, a hiker in Michigan captured eerie footage while trekking through a snow-covered forest. The peaceful setting quickly turned unsettling when deep, resonant growls echoed through the trees. Alarmed, the hiker scanned his surroundings and briefly caught sight of a massive figure. Though it was mostly hidden, its movements were swift and deliberate. "It just took off running," he said in shock. "What the heck is that thing?" As the growls intensified, the hiker realized he was not alone. The noises grew louder, suggesting that whatever was out there was getting closer. Many viewers believed this was an undeniable Bigfoot encounter, as the guttural sounds did not match any known wildlife in the region. The tension in the video was palpable. At one point, the hiker's fear was evident as he backed away, choosing to retreat rather than risk an actual confrontation.
Look out, Jut! Nice.
Oregon Roadside Bigfoot Photo, 2014. In another fascinating case, a photograph of a Sasquatch crossing a gravel road near Seaside, Oregon, surfaced years after the event. The image was first shared by veteran Bigfoot researcher Todd Nice, who received it from an unexpected source, a DMV clerk. During a casual conversation, the clerk revealed that a friend had captured a mysterious figure on camera while driving through the rural roads of Oregon. The photograph, taken on September 8, 2014, showed a massive figure mid-stride, walking across the road from right to left before disappearing into the dense woods. The person who took the photo managed to snap only one image before the creature vanished. Todd Nice, who had his own Bigfoot sighting in 1993, found the image particularly compelling. According to his analysis, the side profile of the figure aligned with known Bigfoot characteristics. The forward-leaning posture, the long arms, and the way the rear leg bent back at an unusual angle all indicated that this was not a human in a costume. Nice compared the leg positioning to well-known Bigfoot gait studies, specifically the famous Patterson-Gimlin film. Researchers have identified a distinctive shin-rise angle in Sasquatch locomotion, around 73 degrees, which differs significantly from the 52-degree average of human movement. This suggests a different anatomical structure, possibly designed for covering long distances with minimal energy expenditure. One of the most compelling aspects of the Oregon image was the lack of publicity surrounding it. The person who took the photo never sought recognition, financial gain, or internet fame. They simply shared it in private conversations. This absence of a motive to fabricate the sighting added credibility to the claim. Additionally, the location of this sighting was only 5 miles away from Todd Nice's own encounter decades earlier, further strengthening the argument that Bigfoot could indeed inhabit this region. Washington River Bigfoot image. Another image surfaced from the Hoh River in the Washington Peninsula. A fisherman shared a photograph he took while fishing. According to the fisherman, he had seen this same creature multiple times over the years, even hearing it howling and seemingly communicating with others of its kind. During this particular incident, he spotted the figure across the river, standing motionless in the dense foliage. The figure appeared tall, covered in dark hair, and walking upright. One of the most fascinating details in this case was the sound of its vocalizations. The fisherman claimed that when it made noise, its voice was deep, guttural, and impossible for a human to mimic. The language it seemed to speak was unintelligible, described as gibberish, yet structured in a way that suggested communication. Upon analyzing the image, researchers noted some key characteristics that matched previous Bigfoot sightings. The creature's posture was hunched, resembling primate locomotion. Its face, though slightly out of focus, was hairless and lighter in color, which has been reported in multiple encounters. The long, dark hair covering its head and body added to the consistency of these claims. Could this be more proof of Bigfoot's existence, or was there another explanation? Many in the Bigfoot community considered this to be one of the more credible photographic captures of the elusive creature. TikTok Bigfoot sighting, 2025. On January 14, 2025, a TikTok user named Sunshineable uploaded a shocking video that quickly went viral. Known for casually filming her walks in the woods, she never expected to capture what appeared to be a Sasquatch lurking in the background. The footage starts innocently enough, with Sunshine commenting on the cold weather. Suddenly, a large dark figure emerges from behind the trees, appearing to lean forward as if watching her. The moment it realizes it has been spotted, it quickly retreats back into the forest. Sunshine, visibly shaken, immediately turned and ran from the area, her phone still recording. The figure in question was covered in thick dark fur, but unlike many Bigfoot reports, it didn't appear exceptionally tall. Some viewers speculated that it could be a juvenile Sasquatch, still growing and developing its full size. Skeptics, on the other hand, suggested that this could be a person in a costume. However, longtime followers of Sunshine pointed out that she had never attempted to stage or fake any content before. If this was a hoax, it would have been an uncharacteristic move for her. Adding to the mystery was her caption referencing TikTok's impending ban on January 19th. Some suggested she might have staged the video for engagement before the platform shut down, but others argued that her fear in the moment seemed genuine. Regardless of whether the footage was authentic or not, the video quickly gained over 100,000 views, drawing widespread debate. Was this real evidence of a young Sasquatch, or just another case of misidentification? Bigfoot footprint casting, 2024. In mid-September 2024, two Bigfoot researchers made an incredible discovery while searching for evidence in an undisclosed location. While investigating a remote area, they found a series of large footprints imprinted in the dirt. Unlike many past discoveries, these prints were exceptionally well preserved, making them ideal for casting. Excited by their find, the researchers used professional equipment to create plaster casts of the footprints. As they cleaned off the first cast, they were immediately struck by one detail: the enormous size of the big toe. "This isn't a human footprint," one of the researchers said. "The structure is completely different." The researchers hypothesized that the print could belong to a young female Sasquatch that had not yet fully matured. They noted that Sasquatch feet are structurally different from human feet, with unique joint formations and pressure distribution. One researcher speculated, "I'm beginning to wonder if there's something about their anatomy we don't fully understand. Their joints, their bone structure. It's clearly built differently from ours." The casted footprint was noticeably larger than a typical human foot, even for an adult male. If this was indeed from a juvenile, it raised the question, how big would a fully grown Bigfoot be? Historical Bigfoot footprint discoveries. The researchers' find joined a long history of famous Bigfoot footprint discoveries, including 1958 Jerry Crew Cast, Bluff Creek, California. A construction worker found massive footprints near his job site, leading to one of the first widely publicized Bigfoot cases. 1969 Bosberg footprint, Washington. This set of prints featured a deformed foot, which some experts argued was too anatomically precise to be faked. 1982 London tracks, Oregon. Forestry workers found a series of footprints that showed pressure distribution consistent with a heavy, bipedal creature. Each of these discoveries has been studied extensively, with some researchers concluding that they provide strong evidence of an unknown primate species. With modern technology, researchers are now able to analyze dermal ridges, weight distribution, and foot structure with greater accuracy. Could these advancements finally prove the existence of Bigfoot? Final thoughts on the evidence. The cases examined, from the Ontario photographs to the Alaska footprints, Virginia encounter, and the newly discovered Washington and Oregon images, paint a compelling picture. Each case presents unique elements, yet they all share consistent characteristics. The creatures appear bipedal, large, and covered in thick hair. Their movements are fast, deliberate, and strategic, often avoiding prolonged exposure. The footprints exhibit distinctive anatomical features, different from humans and known animals. Eyewitnesses, including hunters, researchers, and ordinary people, continue to describe encounters with creatures that fit the Bigfoot profile. As new footage and discoveries emerge, the legend of Bigfoot only grows stronger. Is science on the verge of confirming its existence, or will skepticism continue to dominate the debate? The most compelling Bigfoot evidence yet. With an increasing number of sightings, photographs, and footprint discoveries, the evidence for Bigfoot's existence continues to build. From the Ontario photographs in 2009 to the Alaska footprint discovery in 2025, each encounter presents unique but consistent characteristics that align with descriptions dating back decades. Skeptics argue that without a physical specimen, these reports remain inconclusive. However, for those who have witnessed these creatures firsthand, the debate is no longer about if Bigfoot exists, but rather why we haven't officially recognized its existence yet. One of the most striking elements of these cases is the geographical consistency. The sightings span across the United States and Canada, with notable reports in Washington and Oregon, home to dense forests where multiple videos and photographs have emerged. Alaska, where enormous footprints suggest a bipedal creature with an inhuman stride. Virginia, where a humanoid figure resembling a primate with distinct facial features was caught on video. Michigan, where both hikers and TikTok users have filmed encounters. adding to the growing body of modern evidence. The Patterson-Gimlin film and modern comparisons.
From this film, you can identify that there is an upright walking biped in that film.
The Patterson-Gimlin film of 1967 remains one of the most analyzed pieces of Bigfoot evidence. Filmed in Bluff Creek, California, this short clip captures a large, bipedal creature covered in thick hair, walking through the forest. Despite numerous attempts to debunk the footage, experts in biomechanics and motion analysis argue that the creature's movement, limb proportions, and muscle visibility beneath the fur suggest it is not a human in a suit. Now, compare this to modern Bigfoot footage, such as the Virginia sighting, where the creature's posture, facial structure, and thick fur coat mirror what was seen in the Patterson-Gimlin film. The Oregon roadside Bigfoot photograph, which captures a figure in mid-stride, displaying an unusual shin-rise angle. The Washington fisherman sighting, where the creature's hairless, lighter-colored face resembles descriptions from other encounters. If the Patterson-Gimlin footage was real, and modern footage captures creatures with similar characteristics, does this suggest that Bigfoot has always been among us, just hiding in plain sight? Why hasn't a Bigfoot body been found? One of the most common arguments from skeptics is, if Bigfoot is real, why don't we have a body? There are several possible explanations. Extreme wilderness environments. Bigfoot sightings typically occur in densely forested remote regions. Just like mountain lions and bears, their bodies are rarely found in the wild. Scavenger activity. Large animal carcasses decompose quickly, often eaten by coyotes, wolves, insects, and bacteria before human discovery. Burial behavior. Some researchers suggest that Bigfoot, much like elephants and primates, may bury its dead, leaving little to no trace of remains. Government secrecy. Some speculate that national parks and wildlife agencies intentionally withhold evidence of Bigfoot to prevent mass hysteria or interference with protected wilderness areas.
Certainly hope we can help you. We will look microscopically at this hair sample. It's always easier to say what it's not when you're just looking at physical characteristics than truly what it is, and that's what the DNA will tell us.
The case for DNA evidence. Although no confirmed Bigfoot body has been retrieved, biological evidence such as hair samples, blood traces, and DNA analysis have yielded interesting results. A notable study by Dr. Melba Ketchum examined DNA samples collected from different Bigfoot encounters. Her findings included mitochondrial DNA, mtDNA, matching human genetics, suggesting a maternal human origin. Nuclear DNA, nDNA, contains unknown sequences, meaning the species was unlike anything currently documented in modern genetics. A theory that Bigfoot could be a hybrid species, possibly a distant relative of humans. Although critics dismiss the study, citing potential contamination, the findings remain one of the most fascinating pieces of scientific evidence in Bigfoot research. Theories on Bigfoot's origins. If Bigfoot is real, what exactly is it? Researchers have proposed several theories. 1. A surviving Gigantopithecus. Gigantopithecus was an ancient primate that lived hundreds of thousands of years ago. Fossil records suggest it stood over 10 feet tall, matching Bigfoot sighting descriptions. Some believe it may have migrated across the Bering Land Bridge, evolving into the North American Sasquatch. 2. An undiscovered hominid species. Bigfoot could be a separate branch of hominids, similar to Neanderthals or Denisovans. Fossil evidence suggests many human-like species once existed, some of which may still be undiscovered. If Bigfoot is intelligent, it may have developed an instinct to avoid human contact, explaining why it remains elusive. 3. A paranormal or interdimensional being. Some indigenous tribes believe Bigfoot is a spiritual entity rather than a physical creature. Reports often describe Bigfoot vanishing suddenly, as if moving between dimensions. Some sightings include unexplainable phenomena, such as glowing eyes or a sudden eerie silence in the forest. The future of Bigfoot research. As technology advances, so do efforts to uncover definitive proof of Bigfoot. Researchers are now utilizing thermal imaging drones to detect heat signatures in remote forests, AI-driven sound analysis to identify and classify Sasquatch-like vocalizations, advanced genetic sequencing to analyze hair and tissue samples, motion tracking cameras with night vision to capture high-resolution images. There is also a push for greater transparency from government agencies. Some Bigfoot enthusiasts believe that national park rangers and law enforcement have classified knowledge about Bigfoot sightings, but choose not to disclose it to avoid public panic. Could we be on the verge of a breakthrough? Skeptics will always demand a definitive body or fossil record, but with the increase in eyewitness encounters, physical evidence, and scientific analysis, the search for Bigfoot is more serious than ever. The sighting of the Bigfoot family in Utah. Next up, we travel back in time to 2011, where we join this YouTuber named Johnny. Back then, he perhaps gained some sort of infamy when he posted this video titled "Bigfoot Sighting in Utah." Ordinarily, the sighting of one Bigfoot alone is a massive deal, especially as many have tried to produce evidence of the existence of this creature to no avail.
Look out, John! Nice.
However, Johnny would prove to have been exposed to something even more phenomenal when he and his friends and family went into the Utah mountains. It was while the group were in said mountains that Johnny seemed to notice 3 strange creatures. Looking for answers, Johnny believed that these creatures must be the members of a Bigfoot family. To be honest, it wasn't such a far-fetched conclusion. Just take a look at the first video of this large creature that he spotted lingering within the trees found on the snowy white Utah mountains. As Johnny and the group gathered their wits after spotting the first strange creature, they found that their time for recovery may not be enough, as soon they would notice another Bigfoot watching them from the distance before disappearing into the snowy white landscape surrounding them. Such a terrifying moment for the group, especially as they may be in these creatures' natural habitat, and that may not fare well for them if the creatures decided to attack them. As they were coming to terms with the fact that they may be surrounded by multiple Sasquatches, Johnny and his group had to make some room for one more surprise, because soon they would find that they were in the presence of a third Bigfoot. However, unlike the other two, Johnny and his group believed this third Bigfoot to be injured due to how it was moving and Johnny's description of the creature. Going forward, Johnny would learn that this group of so-called Sasquatches may not be too unusual, as such erratic patterns of movement are not unusual when a group of Bigfoots are exposed to members of the public. As convincing as these clips may be, especially as they may not have been planned out by Johnny and his group of friends and family, who must have just wanted to have some fun in the mountains, it seems as though that there are many that believe that this must be a hoax. To be honest, we don't know what to tell you. Maybe you can head out to the snowy mountains in Utah to check things out for yourselves. Yellowstone Bigfoot. Awesome! This time, we head over to the Yellowstone National Park, where it was reported that a webcam located near the famous Old Faithful geyser has been making everyone question their beliefs as to whether or not Bigfoot is real. The video starts off normally enough. All we see are some of the captivating buffalo in the park making their way through the thick snow found at that time of the year. Before long, however, we noticed that there were some strange creatures in the footage. We can see them pacing among the buffalo, almost as though they were herding the wild animals. After some time, the rangers got hold of the footage and were left in awe. Eager to see if they could get some more information from the footage, they decided to zoom in. This led to several people confirming that this must be a group of Bigfoot or Sasquatches that must be living somewhere within the Yellowstone National Park. As encouraging as this may seem, the doubters came out of the woodwork to voice their dissent towards considering this to be proof that this creature truly exists. This time, however, it seemed as though the Bigfoot enthusiasts were ready for these naysayers. For starters, they claimed that there was no way that this was a hoax or a prank because there was no way that anyone would head out to Yellowstone Park in the midst of the freezing conditions that were found in the park during that time of the year. It would have been pure insanity to do that. Not only could the conditions render them useless, they could also have been injured by the geyser or the wild buffalo if they got too close to either of them. Aside from that, it looks as though the body proportions of the creature as well as their speed and pattern of movement also disputed what the dissenters had to say about the creatures that were recorded in the webcam footage. They just did not match those of humans, as not only were the arms and legs way too long to be that of a human being, The creatures were also just too tall to be any old human in a suit. There is also the fact that some experts in skiing have come out to say that the rapid movement of these creatures could not be attributed to skiing. Desperate to make a foothold, these dissenters attempted to claim that it could be CGI, but nobody was having any of that, especially as it would have been too difficult to film that with a live webcam. Despite disproving all the arguments of these dissenters, we have to admit that we cannot truly say that this is conclusive evidence that Bigfoot does exist. That said, until proven otherwise, we may just have to accept that this may be persuasive proof that Bigfoot may exist somewhere out there. Australian Bigfoot. In a bid to find some of the scariest footage of the legendary cryptid, we decided to see what the guys on Reddit had for us. This took us to a subreddit user that went by the name Haunted Luca. With the use of his body cam, he headed over to the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, Australia. There we followed the Reddit user as he came to a stop somewhere near a rocky area, because he came across this strange old tent that seemed pitched up in the middle of nowhere. Hoping to get a better look, he moved closer. This would lead to him noticing something that was lurking in the bushes. Later on, viewers of this video would claim to notice this strange, massive creature that was lurking somewhere in the shadows. Soon after, a slow-motion mode of the video would reveal even more details of this scary creature that was hiding in the bushes nearby. Afterwards, the hiker prepared himself as he recorded a second video. This time, it looked as though he was trying to lure this creature out because he made attempts to leave a trail of bread behind him. Well, it seemed as though he got exactly what he was looking for, because before long, he noticed that again, there was this strange creature that was watching him from behind the thick bushes in the area. Understandably, the Reddit user, as well as others who may have come across the video, have come to believe that this must be one strange cryptid or the other. Some were certain that he was a yowie, the Australian version of Bigfoot. Much like our North American cryptid, the yowie is said to be large and ape-like. Aside from that though, it is known to stink up a joint thanks to the bad odor that it emits as it makes its way through the thick foliage found in some parts of the land down under. Is there a chance that this hiker actually ran into it? Well, as far as we know, there are many strange creatures that call Australia home. Why can't a cryptid such as this be one of them? Reddit Bigfoot. To make things more exciting, we are going to take a look at the footage that was recorded by a Reddit user known as Truth is Fiction. His footage was taken from the YouTube documentary known as The Great North. In this video, we can see the amazing footage of a large herd of caribou as they made their way through a large body of water. This was something so scenic, it could have been perfect in a Discovery Channel or National Geographic documentary with David Attenborough doing the commentary. As amazing as this footage was, our Reddit user and many who would come across the footage afterwards will notice that there was this odd figure in the footage amid the caribou. In fact, you can take notice of this strange figure just 4 seconds into the clip. It can be seen walking close to the caribou for some moments before it ultimately disappeared out of the picture. Understandably, there were many who were hoping to get some sort of an answer. Looking at the type of animal that was in the footage, there was no way this was a shepherd or a farmhand taking care of its flock, as these were wild animals. As a result, there were many that were ready to accept that this must have been Bigfoot. What do you guys think? Is it possible that this documentary accidentally recorded footage of the legendary cryptid? Please let us know what you think in the comment section. Provo Bigfoot. Looks like 2012 was a big year for Bigfoot sightings. Aside from Todd Standing's personal mission to find this legendary creature in the wild, we'd find that this YouTuber called Beardcard also had his own personal encounter with the strange cryptid. This encounter occurred when the YouTuber decided to go out camping with a group of friends in Utah. Things got interesting when they spotted some deer grazing nearby. Eager to get a better look at the beautiful creatures, they tried to get closer to them. Alas, the group would find that they accidentally got closer to something else instead. Before long, the group realized that they were being watched by something massive in the distance. Initially thinking it was a bear, they decided that it may be best to avoid this creature that was lurking in the distance. However, as time went on, the group started to believe that maybe this wasn't a bear, especially after it stood straight on its 2 legs. Frightened out of their wits, the group ran off, hoping that the creature was not coming after them. Luckily enough, they made it back to safety before posting this clip of the strange creature online. What do you guys think? Could this be the legendary Bigfoot? Please let us know in the comments section. North Carolina Bigfoot. Next up, we head over to North Carolina so that we can look at this footage that was recorded in the summer of 2016. The recorder was this man who just wanted to go for a walk with his pet dog in the middle of the woods. Hopefully, they got to enjoy the wonders of nature for a while, because before long, their attention was grabbed by what could only be described as blood-curdling screams that were ringing out from a distance somewhere in those woods. Understandably, this was an unnerving moment for the man and his dog. Who wants to be listening to all of that in the middle of nowhere? Just listen to the footage for yourselves. What do you guys think? Could that be the screams of a Bigfoot? Pennsylvania Bigfoot. We zoom off from North Carolina to head over to Pennsylvania, where we learn about this man who had this strange encounter right outside his very own home. All he was doing at the time was taking a walk along the railroad tracks close to his home in Bell Valley, a well-known suburb in the area. At some point, he figured he needed a break from this walk, so he went into the woods so that he could find a stump or a fallen tree to take a break on. Little did he know that he would have an encounter out there in the woods. Well, before long, this encounter will occur when he notices this huge, upright figure standing about 30 yards away from him in said woods. Shaken to his core, this man somehow had the wherewithal to pull out his mobile device so that he could start recording what was standing before him in the middle of nowhere. This would prove to be the triggering moment, because the creature ran off as if it actually knew that it was being recorded by the man. Despite how shocking the moment must have been for the man, he was able to recall that the creature seemed to move with shocking speed. It proved to be so fast that it didn't take long for it to lose the man to the thick trees found in the forest. Looking for answers, the man had to admit that he could not be sure about what he witnessed. He wasn't sure if this was some weirdo lurking around in the woods, or if this was the real Bigfoot wandering around in these woods in Pennsylvania. Such is the mysterious nature surrounding the search for the Bigfoot. Just take a look at the footage and tell us if this was Bigfoot or not Cleveland Bigfoot. Let's take a look at what this man experienced when he was just taking a walk near his home back in May 2022. This walk changed into something a lot more interesting when he just happened to come across this odd, hairy humanoid creature somewhere along the way.
What the? He's like, hey! What the hell is that?
Just take a look at the footage that he recorded while he was out there. Large, black, and hairy, it was understandable that the creature scared the man right out of its skin when it seemed to run at him for a moment or two. Luckily, the erratic creature decided to scurry away instead of pouncing on the man like other wild creatures would have in the same situation. What do you guys think? Is there any chance that this man just happened to run into the legendary creature while taking an innocent walk in one of the woods in Cleveland? Please let us know what you think in the comments section. Researchers' fascinating discovery. For our next strange encounter, we take a trip back in time to 2012. It must be said that although this footage has been in existence for more than a decade now, it hasn't been seen by as many people as the other clips shown in this video. That said, those who may have had the chance to look at it have considered it to be one of the most convincing pieces of evidence ever captured that suggests that Bigfoot truly exists. It all came to be when Todd Standing, a dedicated cryptid researcher and explorer, decided that he had had enough of the controversy. He was going to prove that Bigfoot truly existed once and for all. Following some hard work and research, he came to the conclusion that there was a community of Bigfoot that were living in one of the most remote woods or forests on the planet, and he was going to do all he could to get them on camera. After coming to this conclusion, he decided to go out into the world so that he could get the footage he desired. Sure, the road was going to be long and hard, but that is the fate of any cryptid researcher hoping to prove that Bigfoot is real. Over time, it looked as though his efforts actually paid off, because he was able to record one of the most fascinating footage ever when it comes to this search for the legendary cryptid. Just look at the face of the creature that was captured in this video. It is actually enough to take your breath away. With its small eyes and its thick fur, you could almost forgive Todd and many others watching this video for believing that the creature is timid. However, we cannot be distracted from the fact that this is no mere creature. Thankfully, Todd was able to navigate his way around the creature well enough to get more images and videos of the strange creature. In fact, it seemed as though he was able to get recordings of multiple Bigfoot creatures while he was out there.
Come out and experience what I've seen, you will be a believer. You don't need to see film. You don't need to have hair come back, analyze the DNA unknown primate. You will realize really fast, bears don't do that.
Unfortunately, his recording session would come to an end when the creatures noticed him. This was all due to this bird that landed close to him, thereby drawing their attention to him. Frightened for his safety, Todd saw it fit to take his leave. This seemed to be a great decision because as he ran away, he noticed that a boulder was rolling after him. They even chucked a giant log at him, as though they were making a final point that he was not welcome there at all. Imagine if these creatures actually got their hands on him. That would have been a terrible fate for Mr. Todd. Thankfully, he was able to make his way out of there, even though it took him several hours to do so. Now he has what could prove to be the best evidence ever when it comes to the proof of the existence of this legendary creature. So far, the dissenters have not been able to poke their usual holes in the video. With any luck, this could actually show the world that Bigfoot is surely out there. What do you guys think? Please let us know what you think about the video in the comment section. From a frightening encounter with a creature in the middle of nowhere in the woods of Oregon to a dedicated search for the legendary cryptid, despite what could prove to be a risk to one's life, here are 10 of the scariest Bigfoot videos ever in 2024.